Okay.
Thanks, Debbie.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 6 p.m.
All right. Roll call. Vice Chair Gina Olberding.
Present.
Maggie Burns.
Here.
Luke Curtis. Kyle Davenport. Alex, how do you say your last name?
Day.
Day. Edie Hughes.
Here.
Amy Wilson. And City Council Liaison Chelsea Noonenkamp. And excuse, we have Chair Marie Hoda and Dina Phelps. Staff, we have Director Christina Underhill, Library Director Rachel Fewell, and we have Librarian Hannah Kinney. Okay.
Debbie, can we just take a minute, since we do have some new faces around the room, just to reintroduce ourselves. I know some of us met new board members last month, and we also will get introduced to Rachel, but if we can just go around the room and say who we are, and then I'll turn the floor over to you, Rachel, to introduce yourself more fully.
Sure.
So I'm Gina Olberding. I am, the vice chair of this committee and a proud Inglewood citizen. There you go. So I've been on the board for, I think this is my third year. So go ahead.
Hi, I'm Luke Curtis. I've been on the board since May of last year. I work for the state of Colorado family program and enjoy being part of the library. Yeah, nice to meet you.
I'm Kyle Davenport. Luke and I joined, I think, at the exact same time. And I also work for the state of Colorado at the Colorado Attorney General's office.
I'm Maggie. I have been on board for 3 years, but Gina joined after me.
Oh, after you?
Was it 3 years? Dina is not here, always gets the number right, so, Gina started at the same time. Yeah, I'm after here in Inglewood and love the library.
I'm Alex, they, them. I work for Impact Development Fund, which is a CDFI, and I've been here for 1 month as a board member.
So,
And 1 month it's been. I'm Amy Wilson. I live in Inglewood and I've been on the board like, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 years. And I work for the city and county of Denver with Child Protective Services.
Well, and I will, because I haven't met Alex yet. I'm Debbie Severa. I'm the executive assistant for Parks Rec Library and Golf and the staff liaison to the board. Nice to meet you, Alex.
Christine Underhill, Director of Parks Rec Library and Golf.
Edie Hughes, I'm retired. I've been, I think, on the board as long as Maggie's been on. Right? I think we got on together. Is that 4 years? It's something like that.
Back in 2021, so that's some helpful math. There you go. Chelsea knows. No, I just know it's after 2021.
After 20. I'm retired. Englewood citizen.
And then Chelsea, do you want to go next?
Sure, we've met, so excited to have you there, but Chelsea Noonenkamp, City Council liaison, so I'm not a voting member of this board, but liaison from the City Council to provide a council perspective when that's helpful, and then also to provide back to the council a report on what this board is up to, which is wonderful. Elected in 2021, I am in the 4th year of my term, and I represent District 2, which is the northeast corner of the city.
Awesome. The floor is yours, Rachel, for the next few minutes, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about you.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. I'm really thrilled to be here. My name is Rachel Fewell, last name like gasoline, Fewell, just spelled a little funny, but that out. I have been a librarian since 2004 when I got my degree at the University of Wisconsin. I was living in Madison at the time. Moved out here for a job in Greeley. That was my first professional library job at High Plains Library District. And I worked there for about 3 years. Came to Denver then, and I was a branch supervisor at a Montbello branch in the northeast corner of the city. Did that for about 3 years. And then I was a collection services manager. So kind of the team that buys the books. I'm not sure how everybody knows about what goes on at the library, but ran that department for anything libraries in Adams County for about 5 years. Helped reopen about 6 locations and remodel another handful. And then the same job opened up in Denver, and so I went back to Denver into that role and served there for about 5 years in that collection role. We opened 3 new buildings at that time, so built the collections for all those spaces. And then I moved into a different position at Denver Public Library, and that's where I ended that career, that part of my career to move here. I was the director of the Central Library, and I was in charge of a renovation that I started on the visioning for in 2016 and just completed in November. So that's kind of my library story. I have 3 grown children. One lives with me. One is in Chicago, doing pre-law at DePaul University. And the other one works for Denver Public Library. And they are a digital navigator there. So yeah, that's my library story. Any questions, curiosities?
Were you happy when you got to open the central library back up? I know that was a huge accomplishment.
A huge relief. We've been working alongside construction for years.
Yeah.
And so that was very stressful on the staff. It was just great to get that building open and back to the public.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I know we'll hear from you later in the agenda about the strategic plan, but it sounds like the timing is the benefit to the city of Englewood to have you here with all your years of experience and especially with a huge organization like the Denver Public Library System. So congratulations to us and the city. Good hire. I mean, honestly, so look forward to, having your contributions. And Chelsea and I were at the strategic planning session a couple of weeks ago, and there's just great things happening. So look forward to hearing about that. Cool. All right. Anything else? Super. Thanks, Rachel. Approval of minutes. So is the next item on our agenda. And I was just going to do like a little side note. When I first joined the board and I went approval of minutes, okay, and I expect there to be pages and pages of minutes. Well, as it turns out, the city has adopted the Bob's Rules of Order, not Robert's Rules of Order, which is just a truncated or abbreviated version of minutes. I was used to being on boards where there were pages of minutes and I was having to read through all these things, see if I had to correct them. Anyway, I wanted to put that out there because I think it's good to sort of reorient ourselves sometimes to the way things operate and what our responsibilities are. So you're not looking at pages and pages of minutes, you're kind of looking at what was voted on and that's it.
Action minutes.
Action minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The summary is wonderful. So anyway, does anyone have anything, the emotion to approve the minutes as written?
Or do you want to update
Yeah.
that he tried?
Oh,
Yeah. So,
I don't need to know.
oh no,
Purely reflective.
no, Kyle had meant to email. He had a family emergency and did not get the email. Yeah. So I'm going to change his to excused
okay.
because he had intended to reach out.
So with that edit on minutes, which, do we approve that?
It'd be nice, I get it.
Yeah. we
Oh,
approve that.
So, do approve as amended.
As amended.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
Yes, I'm moving to approve that as amended.
I'll second it. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
And the minutes are approved. Oh, all in favor? Just.
Aye.
And anyone opposed? Okay, it's approved as amended. Recognition of public comment.
You're not,
Do election
Are we skipping
officers
over?
first?
I just am going,
oh, yeah, let's do,
I skipped past that.
thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So excited about the minutes. Bob rule and Bob's rule. Election of officers. So we no longer have a chair of the board. And so we have any nominations to fill that role? Would anyone like to step into that role?
Would you like to step into that one? What are you doing?
If you would like me to, I'm happy to fill that position.
I nominate Gina for
Do we have to second it?
chair.
I second.
How many of us want to second that?
Rock, paper, scissors.
I'm happy to fill that role as the chair. Well, thank you for your confidence.
So who,
Yes.
I know Edie, but did,
She nominated Edie.
and Alex, okay.
Okay.
I don't know how many seconds we can have.
Yeah, we'll share.
They all seconded it.
Do you need to do sort of an all in favor kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
All in
okay. So all in favor of voting Gina in as the chair?
Say
Hi.
Anyone opposed? They're just, no, okay.
Okay.
So, thank you. So with that, then, I will move to the chair position. Would anyone like to fill the vice chair position that I recently just vacated?
You can nominate
What?
someone else. I was thinking about it.
Can one person do
No.
both? I don't think so. In my absence. No.
Yeah.
And Bob Hills. I don't think you can.
No, we should probably have vice chair, right?
I nominate Maggie if she's interested.
Maggie, are you interested?
I yeah, I can do it. If everyone wants me to.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor of having Maggie be the vice chair, or say aye?
Hi.
Anyone opposed? All right, well, congratulations, Maggie. There's a giant welcome basket that's at your house, Jeff. You ready to look? Yeah. Okay. And an Easter bunny costume. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for your confidence in Maggie and I. Appreciate that. Reports. So Rachel, this is you.
Fantastic. I learned along with a colleague how to put this together just a few days ago, so it was wonderful to be sharing this information with all of you. Yeah, so regular library statistical report here. I had a few notes about things that I thought were interesting to share with y'all. I really loved to see that Englewood patrons registered number up over last year. That's exciting to me to see. Letting you know that volunteer is in a restructure mode and Hannah is helping to delegate some responsibilities there. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more growth. That would be exciting. And then a big note today, that we had a monster program about hatching chickens. And there were 80 people here, so not reflected in these statistics. You'll see that next month, but I just wanted to point that out. 80, there are about 60 kids, and they're grown-ups, so super fun, very exciting. But those are,
Was it because of live animals, you think?
well, yes, live animals is very exciting.
Cupcakes too.
Yeah, they had all kinds of cool activities, like so fun, so.
And if anybody would like to see the little chickens after this meeting, I'll be happy to.
Here.
No, the live ones, we're still waiting for them to hatch, but the live ones will most likely go to a home in about a week or so.
They are highly recommend. I saw them before the meeting. Yeah.
I will take you up on that. All right, okay. Field trip after the meeting.
And I will forward out to you guys the link to the YouTube where you can watch the chicks hatch.
We accidentally knocked it offline just before this meeting. IT is coming to fix it, so hopefully we'll be back up, because we do expect them to hatch probably tonight, tomorrow, into Saturday. So everybody's watching, staff waste.
Oh, that'll be neat.
I did have a quick question too, just about this report. I have some ideas about jazzing it up a little bit, with some data visualization, if that is interesting to you. I thought I could bring a couple versions of what that could look like to the next meeting and maybe talk about if you're interested in that. So just throwing that out there too, to get a little bit more, I think, information from this document rather than just the straight stats.
I would support that. I mean, that's, this has been fine, but yeah, I think I learned visually and graphs, charts, that kind of thing. If it's not too much work, I think that would be great.
I think just a few things, I was talking with Kimberly about the outreach the children's team does, and I think just seeing that as a straight number doesn't really tell the story of that. I really wanted to share more about what that means in terms of our FTE effort, in terms of number of children reached. I think that's a really important level of information for you all to have.
That'd be great.
Okay. Give it a whirl, see if you like it.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, anything else of note that you noticed here that you had questions about or want more information about?
Any instance of note?
Incidents of note for me.
I will add, Allied's really stepped up and addressed the situations before our library staff have to most times. And so a lot of the incidents are taken care of, which is, I think Hannah can help us on this one, but it's definitely improved. Hannah does a lot of our reporting on the back end, so we know what happens while Allied is handling the situation. So it's just helpful, and it's been nice the way it's set up now. So while we may report some, it's not always our staff dealing with it.
Thanks, Hannah, for dealing with the back end stuff. I know that can't always be pleasant.
I love to write it.
Well, thanks, Rachel. Lots of great things happening. Board budget, so we have $1,000 this year in which the library has to spend. And so if there's anything that comes up with the programs that, you know, in which you want to spend money, I know in the past, a large portion of those funds have come in the summertime for the summer reading program and that kind of thing. So please let us know if there's anything that comes up.
I do think there's a summary you need.
Mm-hmm.
So would you like a proposal for that money or how did you like
It's
that?
pretty informal. It's, you know, this is what we estimate, this is what we plan to purchase, this is what it's for. You know, and we wanted something that would be useful. Like just recently, if you guys participated in the winter reading program, you got a cute stocking cap, which is like so comfortable. I'm just saying, it almost works tonight because it's so comfortable.
Mhm.
But, you know, not to just have tchotchkes, right? To have something that might be useful, like a reusable bag is what was handed out last year. And, you know, everyone uses a reusable bag when you go to the grocery store. So thinking about something user friendly would be nice, but a fairly informal
Okay.
request is fine.
It's also use it on like staff development and
Staff development, and I think there was some money allocated in the city budget for staff development.
Yeah, we do have some allocated for staff
Yeah, but
development.
if there's something extra, I mean, just let us know, Rachel. Yeah, it sounds great. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
I would like you to address it. Madam Chair.
We know for the record, I don't know if we normally do, whether or not that no one appeared for public comment. We're not ignoring a huge crowd in the back right now. Just for the-
Right. You know, we do in the audio, the recorded minutes. And I can start adding that in, just so it is noted that, you know, there was or there was not anybody present. That's easy
That was
to.
interesting for me, Sarah's suggestion, so I don't personally need to change past practice, I just didn't know.
We will note it if somebody comes for public comment, so I guess
Definitely,
maybe
yeah.
if you don't
Okay.
see that,
Then
the
you know that,
assumption is nobody came.
Thank you.
yeah.
We do normally touch on it,
Right, okay, so.
just like every past election officers do. Just might have missed it. Very efficient.
Yeah, I like it.
No, I appreciate you bringing that up because, but if that's standard practice to not note anything, I think that's. You're okay with that?
Yes.
Mr. Attorney. You're right.
No.
All right, I'm gonna toss on to new business. I know.
I'll say it.
Future capital projects for the library.
Yeah, so this year we have 130 for entryway and emergency exits, and we're updating the quotes we actually got last year because they are expired to do those projects. So that will happen at some point this year, those updates. And then we also have 50,000 this year for new library furniture, things like tables. These are not the greatest, as some of you have experienced, almost tipping them over. As well as library furniture out on the floor. For 2026, we just submitted the capital for that. We added another 50,000 as a request to do library furniture to continue to update it because 50,000 doesn't get us super far. We won't be able to do everything we want to with the meeting rooms, study rooms, and the floor itself. So that's what the current request will go before council later this spring, summer. So
What will they do with these?
they will be, if they're in okay condition, they'll go to auction. So the city will get some funds
We'll
back.
get some money.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say they could probably sell them.
Yeah, we typically do that, so.
Christina, with other discussions happening at the city in regards to this building and redevelopment of different things, can't help but wonder if, $130,000 investment
Yeah.
now is the wisest use of resources if the building will eventually maybe not exist, or
Right.
if the library moves. How is that being considered?
It's definitely considered, and like even the carpet was a pretty thorough discussion with our city council just to get the carpet replaced. I'm really glad we did that. These rooms also need carpet too, but we're very cognizant that this building could go away. We are not looking to move this anytime soon. I think it's going to be a fairly long process. There was a comment made from staff recently that had been with the city a long time, and it's 20 years in the making, just with talking about this building going away. And so we're not anticipating the next 5 or maybe even 10. There's a lot of moving pieces to it. So I don't know if Councilmember Noonan can speak to it.
Be upset if it's 10 years, or after 10 years, that's on the record. It is something that is often in our minds. I think that there are members of the council who would like to see this building changed in a much more aggressive timeline. But there are a lot of pieces involved in a public-private partnership that would make us move possible. The things that have guided us in our decisions when we've made these allocations is one, when we did do things like carpet, it was like, okay, like we always could actually pull it up since the square tiles and reuse it somewhere else if we needed to, if we was only here for a couple of years. And then things that pertain to safety, like emergency exits, we want to do regardless. And so if you only need to use them once for them to be worth it.
We will take every door we install with us.
Excellent. That is, but we are thinking about what is the difference between an emergency exit and something that might be nice to have as we consider the future of the space. That's the council perspective.
Yeah, and all the furniture investment, obviously those things will go, IT equipment, all the books, the stacks, those sort of things can go with us. So yeah, there's just so many unknowns, and yes, safety is a big consideration in investing back into this building. And so there's more than just the library in this building that we need to invest in, HVAC system and other things that are costly, that's almost a higher priority. So that's where our community development team is working with developers and everything to see how fast we can move, but there's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah. Any other questions about those projects?
I will note, if you ever have ideas for capital improvements for the library, you're welcome to bring them to us and propose them, and we'll research and see what we can do. So this board is always welcome. If you hear from community members or whoever, you can always propose it, and we'll put it on a list to add to our capital projects.
Great. Thanks for the update.
Do we need a motion?
So yes, we do need a motion to approve, not the 2025, but to add 50,000 as a request to our capital budget. That will, like I said, go before council. So our Parks and Rec Commission has done this, the library board will do it as well. So if you're in agreement with additional 50,000 to go to no furniture, we'll need a motion and then a vote.
Any motion to?
So
Okay. And I'll second.
Thank you.
All in
Thank you.
favor of additional 50,000 for furniture? Say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Sounds good. Rachel, the next item is yours, May library in-service date.
Yeah, so we have an in-service date scheduled for Friday, May 9th. We have some conflicts. Our manager, Carrie, is going to be out that day at a high performance leadership meeting, so I want her to be able to go to that. But we really want her as part of our in-service as well. So a few other dates that we wanted to propose instead of the 9th are April 18th or May 23rd. And I don't know if that's a voted upon thing or
Can you
informal.
clarify, is this a date in which the library would be closed?
The library's closed that
For the
day.
full day?
For the full day, and the staff is engaged instead in some learning opportunities, reconnecting with each other, and a little bit of fun.
Those dates again?
Either April 18th or May 23rd. had a struggle.
Nice.
Some
You
Fridays.
know,
What are those Fridays?
They're both Fridays.
May 23rd, Inglewood Schools is in session. Because I know that was a concern always with like Marie. I'm checking on the April 18th.
Thank you for checking those.
Yeah.
And then we'll be closed on that Sunday then too.
For Memorial Day.
Yes, for Easter, and then also, what's
Yeah,
Memorial Week.
Memorial Day weekend.
Where's their
When is
Anything smooth, that's also okay, but I just wanted to let you know that we would have Carrie in absence on that day then.
Do you have a request or a recommendation between the
Yeah.
2 days?
I think our best date would be the 18th
of
April, yeah.
And I'm sorry, is the library then closed on that Sunday, the 20th for Easter?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so then that weekend, the library really wouldn't be open on Saturday.
On Saturday,
Yeah.
correct.
which is, Good Friday, sometimes that would be okay,
Yeah.
because.
Engaged in other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one is Friday before Memorial Day, so,
Getting out of town.
yeah, stepping on some town lines maybe.
Yeah.
And school was in session on the 18th of April.
Yeah, yep, it's in session.
We will.
As long as we normally look at when the schools are in or out, just so that like, if schools are out, we want to be open so that kids and parents have a place to go potentially. So if neither one of those dates are one side of the school closed, then my opinion would be either one that's best for you all. Any other strong opinions one way or the other? No? It sounds like April 18th is okay, what we're comfortable with. Amazing, thank you. I don't know if it's a vote thing, is it? Debbie, do we have to vote on that?
The board did vote to approve the in-service dates that were presented, so go ahead and do
Yeah,
another motion to,
okay. Do I hear a motion to move the in-service date to April 18th, in which the library would be closed that day? Okay, thanks. Second?
Second.
Thanks, Alex. And all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, there you go. All right. Friends of the library update. This was my request.
I'm gonna pass it to Gina.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. So, about a year ago, less than a year ago, we heard, well, let me back up. I think there's been a request for quite some time for the library to have a mechanism in which they could receive funds as a foundation. And the Friends of the Library, and please correct me if I'm misspeaking on, because you probably know more about this, but this is my general idea. It kind of set up as a foundation in which if a person wanted to contribute funds or donate funds to the library, they would do so through the Friends of the Library. I know Denver has one because I went to a friend's party and they were having donations and you could just scan the QR code and your donation would go to Friends of the Library. The benefit of that for us as a library would be we would have another source of income in which we could then think about how do we use those funds for activities or, other programming or, whatever. I'm sure there's some restrictions on how you can actually use the funds. But it seems like a wise choice because if we don't offer people a way to donate to the library, then they can never donate to the library, which is our current situation. So about a year ago, we had a presentation by a former library staff person who had been doing some research on what would this take to have Friends of the Library for Inglewood. And it turns out there used to be one back in the day. So she had uncovered some information and kind of started to do some research. I don't know where we currently are with that, but I'm interested in pursuing that either on behalf of the library in a small committee, because I think it's important for the library to have a way for people to donate funds if they'd like to. So what did I miss? Did I misspeak on something? No, what's been your experience with something like Friends of the Library?
I think it's a great mechanism for what you're talking about to have a nonprofit arm of our work at the library. yeah, I think it could be very positive for us.
So I will add, we do have a donors fund that when we do our book sales, the monies go to that. And Kimberly for teens and children programs does tap into that funding. I don't know the exact amount that's in there. It's 30,000 maybe. But we're real careful on when we use that, and it's really gone more to the children's programs than anywhere else. We've purchased some IT related equipment through that in the past too, and so without a friends group in place, I think a friends group makes a lot of sense for this library, especially down the road if we're looking to move the library and everything. So I think it's wonderful if you're interested in doing that. It'd be a big help. The individual that was working on it, we haven't heard from in a while, so we're assuming that project is no longer happening. And yeah, if you're all willing to look into it, that'd be great, and it'd be helpful for this library as well.
What is the donors fund? Is it just for the library?
Yes, yeah. It is just for the library, so anytime we have people that come in and hand our staff cash and say, you know, put this towards something in the library, and that then gets deposited into the donors fund. So if somebody wanted to make a large donation, they could do that. The city is a nonprofit technically, a 501c. And so there could be some tax benefits to it too, but a friends group actually is a little bit stronger than just a fund that the city holds.
And that's just for the library, that, not for city planning or
No.
any recreate parks and
Correct.
rec or.
Yeah, like Mali is a good example. They have the Mali Trust Fund, and there's an actual board that oversees that. And so we have had members of Mali pass away and leave some money to Mali, and then we're able to reuse that for, like, we're gonna be doing renovations this year over at Mali, and so they'll be using those funds to help, and then our departments also with city funds contributing funding as well.
I think the
I
other,
think it's a great idea.
I think the other benefits to having a Friends Foundation on the side of the library is when Denver, when we were going out for a ballot initiative, that Friends group can then do the campaigny stuff. So if we ever had anything political that we were trying to do from the library side, that would be a real huge benefit to have that funding mechanism and that group of people who are already ready to go for that.
Do I remember correctly that no one who's on staff in the library can be on the Friends?
Correct.
Is that the same for board members? I remember there was some sort of conflict of interest that we talked about last time when we first started talking about this, but I don't remember. I'm sure I haven't.
I think a board member could represent on the Friends group. This might be part of the research that needs to happen. But I think a board member could serve on that.
Well, when this occurred, I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. And so I was even looking into, there's tons of resources out there. You know, the American Library Association, right? ALA has a ton of things out there about development of library. And then Leah did some research. And so we have access to that. So there's already some things out there. It's not like creating something from nothing. So I wanted to bring that back up because I think it would be very beneficial for us as a library to have something where people, I mean, again, could donate to the library. Again, as we think about moving outside the library, which is part of the strategic plan that I'm going to vote for, I would like us to have additional funds to consider, to use wisely for the library. So any other questions or comments? Anyone interested in exploring that with me, or?
I think it's a good idea. What concrete next steps are you thinking? Sounds like still some research to be done.
I think so. Concrete next steps, I think identifying kind of a plan of action in a way, what kind of approval would we need? What kind of paperwork, to set this up? Who has to be the administrator? Who has to be the fiscal representative? So that's kind of part of it. It's sort of just research. We'll do some documentation. I think we can pull together some things and then kind of bring it back here to say with more informed. So is this, as we do this though, could we work with the library staff? I mean, because what I think would be important is to at least have your knowledge or staff's knowledge, helping to inform the structure of it or the development of it. not necessarily to be a part of it, if that's a conflict, but.
I don't think that's a conflict, and I would also really love to, as this is set up, like set up an MOU. So there's a real clear understanding about who's doing what and how that board or however it's structured is different from the governance that you all have and the rest of the city.
Great. That seems like it makes sense. Alex, do I hear a?
I can help out with that.
Yes, excellent. This is fantastic. Okay, we can set up some time. Anyone else interested? I mean, it's not like we need everybody. Happy to report back, but at least it's a start to kind of get us going again. Okay, cool. Super, great. Thanks. Thanks for the time. Moving on to old business. So this is the strategic plan, which is not old business, very new business and very cool. So Rachel, this is, your name's on here.
It is, I see that.
Yeah.
So on my second day here, I got to attend with both of you, the task force for the strategic plan, which was great because I got a real fire hose of information about how the community views the library and what they're actually looking for from our library services. So that was really exciting to get to meet some folks and hear all of that. We are in process of honing in on the actual verbiage of our mission, vision, values, and then the roles that we play in terms of our department in the city and what we're providing to our community. So we're really excited about that. One of the great efforts that happened around that, I don't know if you heard about this at the February meeting, but one of our children's supervisor, Kimberly, held meetings with all of the staff to really talk through what they were looking for. And so we also got to deep dive and include a lot of that language back into the process. So that's really exciting. That feels really good to me. The next steps with that is you're going to get a survey. Our staff is going to get a survey with that language that's been developed so far. And then we're going to get to say, yes, we love it. No, change that word. In the task force meeting, we talked a lot about the ability to translate whatever we have created and also to ensure that people at various levels of reading comprehension can really understand what we're talking about. We really wanted to clarify our roles too in terms of being a place, providing some things, and then also being the people who connect patrons to the stuff and to the information. So those were kind of the big highlights, but we have kind of clever words that are around those pieces. Resource hub, community connectors. We're really excited about those kind of things. Expert finders was another phrase that really shone through. So that was really exciting. Were there any other things that you thought were highlighted in that task force meeting, or you wanted to make sure that I highlight?
One of the things I guess that came up for me, and I was happy to hear about this, was when we first heard about this, there were business cards with a QR code that said, take the survey, and then there were signs around town that, take the survey. And initially, maybe by the end of December, I don't know, there wasn't that many surveys, but then there was this push to get more surveys out, and it like doubled or tripled the number of survey responses from our community. So it seems to me that a lot of this is community voice. And people did fill out the survey saying what they wanted. And so to me, that it is a citizen's voice. So I was happy about that. So it's not just us sitting here loving our library, but it's what does everybody want? So I thought that was really positive that we did end up receiving pretty good survey response to help inform that. What surfaced for you?
It's so interesting. We've spent so much time talking about the challenges of this library, the unique things that, the way libraries are changing and things that we're providing for patrons in a different way. And yet so much of the data was like, we want the books.
Collections.
Yeah.
Collections.
People who buy the books. And I think it was actually, there was a comment, like, it's nice for the staff to also, people who got into library science to help people find information that really came through. Obviously, among all of the other things as well, but and yeah, there's a lot of like really positive feedback at the library, which was really lovely. I think again, as a group that's often addressing challenges, it's really lovely to see people say like, this is what I love about it. And I think hopefully some really interesting data around things that this group has been discussing, like hours of service and accessibility and so there's a lot of, I think a lot of very relevant data to see it.
And we have asked for some additional information about staffing levels and comparisons to other similarly sized libraries, so hopefully we'll see that data coming weeks.
I believe we had asked the Very Dunn group who is conducting this work on our behalf sent to us, but is that not within their scope of work to do, or couldn't we have them come present? Because
Yeah.
again, it opened my eyes to quite a bit and it kind of sparked some ideas in me. And I think as far as a library board, as advising the work, I think it would be interesting for all of us to hear. Some of just the key points, right? I mean, we were there for an hour and a half, but like, a truncated version of that would be great.
Okay. We can do that.
So if we can plan on that, it'd be great. So, yeah, and to echo that, a lot of positive comments. And it's about the collections, which I was super happy about. I'm like, yes, that's why a library exists, for the collections. So that was cool. Anyway. Anything else? Questions about the strategic plan? And I joke about the library moving, but that was one of the things that people talked about. Variety of reasons, right? Parking, maybe dark in there, maybe one entrance. There's a lot of things to consider, but I know it's been talked about for a long time to move the library. I have a genius idea about it, but I did tell Sean, sort of not joking. So anyway, I was just saying, it's perfect. The timing might be perfect. Gonna happen. Oh, I know I digress all the time. That's choice. Anything from Christina, you or Debbie?
April 2nd, Hop and Shop. Bellevue Park, train will be running, egg hunts. Come on out.
The most popular event of Englewood, is it not? And
April 2nd? Is that a?
12th.
Oh, 12th.
You want me him? No? Grab me him. Okay, yes, you go ahead.
I just had a couple of things. National Library Week is in April, so you'll start to see some of that stuff flying out. You may have also seen some things about the Institute of Museum and Library Science Services happening at the federal level. That does not impact us here, but we will start to see impacts at our state library. So we're all monitoring that and paying attention. There's a couple other bills that are up in the Colorado State Legislature that don't really impact public libraries, but will impact school libraries. So we may be in a position to be supporting them a little bit more too. And so just wanting to keep that on your radars, that there's stuff happening at the state and federal level that may trickle down to us in years to come.
I was actually gonna ask about the federal stuff. We don't have any grants through the IMLS, right?
We don't.
Kind of a relief.
Yeah,
I know.
thanks for bringing that up because I saw that notice. Board members' choice, anyone have anything? Councilwoman?
I have a few things, I do. Okay, one is board and commission applications, feels like we just did it, we're doing it again, so applications are due by April 14th. I think this board won't have any renewals.
Like, the only thing we have are youth members.
Youth members, if you know a young person who would like to serve in the
Yeah.
library, please encourage them to apply, but also if you have friends or neighbors who you think would be great and you've been great your time serving the city, please encourage them to apply. Another opportunity for citizens we have coming up is our citizen planning schools. This is where you can work with our community development department to think about how to plan for the city, everything from density of housing to commercial spaces to streets to sidewalks. I did it before I was on council. It's excellent. And it starts April 17th, so you can apply before then.
April what?
17th is when it starts, runs for like about a month.
And when do you apply?
I don't see the application deadline. But you can
Okay.
apply inglewoodco.gov/citizen PS, P as in planning, S as in school. And then the last thing I wanted to show or to name was we have a comprehensive plan that helps guide the way we make decisions for the city. We authored, Christina helped me, the comp plan for 2017. version of the comp plan.
Yes, I think so.
Comp plans typically get updated every like 10-15 years. We're not doing a full update right now, but we are doing kind of like a refresh, because we've made some really significant changes to some of our code and our development code in the last few years. And so we are currently getting citizen input. There was a big open house this week, but if you go onto Inglewood Engage, there are several surveys you can take if you would like to give your feedback for what you would like the comprehensive plan, essentially the master plan for the city to look like for the next several years. We really would love your feedback. So that is open week to people. So lots of citizen.
April 2nd.
That is, I believe that is correct.
Yes.
Check. And I just got an email about it if you're on cities.
Yes, April 2nd. And maybe it's actually not on Inglewood Engage. This says inglewoodco.gov/comp plan, COMPPLAN. I would guess it's on Inglewood Engage, but it covers things like zoning, long-range planning, kind of the experience you want people to have in the city, as well as guiding the decisions that we'll make around these development for the next several years.
How long are the applications open for the boards and commissions?
I believe they're due on the 14th of April.
14th thing. And is it published, where the openings are?
Yes.
Is there any kind of outreach to find the youth members?
Oh, yes, this is a long, long thing.
Oh,
We've
okay.
tried to, well, no, it's a good question because we struggle to have youth members. I don't think I have had a youth member on the commission during my term. We were concerned that there was maybe young people didn't want to serve with adults. And so we actually piloted a youth advisory board. It's hard to get critical mass there as well. And we've been working with the school district. We've been, doing a lot of the parent communications, working with teachers. We've not cracked the code.
I remember when I first started doing the boards and commissions, we always had youth members, like on the Parks and Rec Commission. And then it just slowly and I don't know if they're like so involved in other stuff for that, but I remember in high school, like the, student council and stuff like that, and I wonder, for college applications and stuff, kind of.
We've reached out to student government and the high school and middle school. Have not, I've worked with the superintendent a few times over at the school where we've not figured that piece out. One thing that is kind of interesting, the mayor is in Belm, Germany right now because Belm is our sister city, and he is reauthorizing our sister city agreement there. He's there with like several Inglewood high school students, like 6 students. It's really special. So maybe apply because they got really inspired on their trip, and we will be hosting students from Belm next year. It's very, very sweet.
Is there a minimum age for the
Weird
youth members?
too.
What? Do you know, Debbie?
My daughter's 3.
What we have found, and this question, Jackie had reached out to me. We have found that high school age is they're more interactive, and we have tried like some younger ages, where like they're having parent come to the meeting with them, and a lot of those, didn't last more than a couple meetings.
So what age are you thinking?
We're saying more like 9th through 12th grade is kind of the ideal, but I think too, it depends on the child. That. Yeah, if you know anybody who would,
I was wondering, but I don't think she might. Great.
and I think,
Okay, she's.
because again, it depends on the child. Yeah.
I've never done this, but have we reached out to Kimberly's teen group about it specifically?
We'd have to ask.
Kids who are already in the library a lot,
yeah.
to have a voice in shaping it, that might.
When I was a teen, I was in a teen library group, and then I got to help design the teen space of my library, and that was very cool. So it might be an easier.
Yeah. Maybe we tried a lot at the schools, but I don't know, trying the program.
And I can't help but wonder about the high school's library. librarian, right? To get to know that person if they had any suggestions.
That's true.
We might also, because it's open, and I'm sure for Parks and Rec as well, to see if we can re-up it in the parental communications that we do with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good times, it's.
And we also have, like, for Cultural Arts Commission. So I think we have 2 on Parks and Rec, 2 on Cultural Arts, and 1 on Library Board.
For cultural arts, have we reached out to Swallow Hill?
Our chair
we're not on-
is actually, yeah, our chair is actually, he works for Swallow Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but that is something that to kind of reach out to Martin again. So that's a good suggestion. And then we do have an update from Devon that he had emailed, asked if we would share with the board. So we appreciate the continued partnership with the library. At our April 1st meeting, we will be starting early as there will be a meet and greet with our new Director of Security, Mark Edison. Other executive team members will be there as well, so come out and meet us. Our April 15th meeting will now be a special meeting as we at Board of Education are interviewing scholarship candidates in preparation for graduation. On that note, students should stay tuned for the incoming application process. Oh,
Yeah.
Additionally, upcoming is the transition committee work for the middle school merge that we just approved that will require community member support. Background, if anyone wants it. We voted to merge the middle schools into Inglewood Middle School. There will be a transition committee coming up, but we are still discussing parameters.
And Devon's at the Capitol for the education and day.
The funding.
Great, anything else from any other board member?
I'd like to add for the Citizens Planning School, it is on Thursday. From 6 to 7:30. So that's fine.
Is it the third? Is it the third or the second Thursday?
It's every Thursday for a month, from April 17th through May 15th. Still worth doing, just like we will have an issue with it
Right.
here.
We probably accept your for house.
Of course, but still,
So nice.
yeah.
Definitely would.
There's no date in terms of when you need your application in. I will say they sent it out to all of Elevate Inglewood, so there's 25 plus people in that, or 20 plus people that are probably shopping to do something more.
How many do they accept or do they?
They don't say, said, apply as soon as possible to secure your spot, so. Yeah, it must be, so.
Luke's in Elevate Inglewood right now.
I'm elevating it.
Yeah, I elevated in 2023 and then you never know what you get asked to do. You get asked to get.
It's great. Yeah, it's great. I really enjoyed it. Got to meet a lot of nice people. I mean, they're not as nice as people here, but they're a close second, so it's gonna be fun. Yeah, please do.
Well, sounds good. All right. If there's nothing else, we will adjourn the meeting at 6:53 PM. Great, thank you, everybody.
And if you'd like to see some chickens.
Chickens.